Now, it may get bigger, it may get a little bigger, it may not get bigger at all. We'll see what happens. But regardless of what happens, we're totally prepared.
It has been the honor of my life to serve you. I won't stop. In fact, I will be right there with you as a citizen for all my remaining days. But for now, whether you are young or whether you're young at heart,
Was an ex-commando. He killed 16 Chechen rebels single-handed.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, nice, huh? He was with the Interior Ministry. Guy, some kind of Russian Green Beret. This guy cannot come back to tell this story. You understand?
I hear you.
There he is, Paulie.
Huh?
Call me back.
You're not gonna believe this. He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit.
Are you ready?
Oh man, that was the backup intro. I got to switch them up every once in a while.
Something seemed different.
I knew I'd throw you off with it. Welcome everybody to Monday Morning Middle of the Road. I'm Coach Casey. Joining me as always is TJ. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everyone.
Today is 11/14/22, the year of the penguin, I believe. I'm not sure. We have a new sponsor. And because I think we've had sponsors the last two shows, and I've skipped right past them. This week's sponsor is Cativa, CBDs and Delta 8 products. Visit Angela Palmer locally for your Cativa needs. I thought it was funny because I was trying to pitch it kind of like an insurance commercial. You know, your local Cativa agent instead of your local Allstate agent. She's one of my Christmas light customers.
Will I pass a drug test if I...
Yes.
Okay.
That stuff, you can put it on you. That's not I tried eating some, does nothing for you that way. That's a salve, they call it.
What's this for? What do we do with this?
It's pain relief and heals up. My finger was almost missing yesterday, cut off.
Yeah.
And I've just been rubbing it on there because that's where I'm rubbing it all over me. Dude.
What if I slept crooked and my neck hurts
It
today?
would help it, bro.
Okay.
My body hurt so bad when I got done doing lights yesterday that I was like, I honestly don't believe in most of that stuff because if it's not FDA approved, it can't be right.
Yeah.
Good, right? Okay, that's wrong.
I don't think that's how you believe.
I'm a believer in that stuff, but a lot of times they have not always worked for me. It's kind of you don't need a bunch of it. It's kind of a wax, but works out great. So it helped me with the pain. So go out and get you some Cativa today.
I feel better already.
Well, yeah, see it here in a little bit. Birthdays today: Travis Barker, Kurt Schilling, Condoleezza Rice.
Travis Barker, the one that's married to the Kardashians?
Hell yeah. I don't really I less care about that.
She's the sexiest Kardashian.
She is she's always been my favorite. She was the one that was with that Rob weirdo dude, but she's always been into the she hasn't dated around a lot. She was with him, and then
didn't he get in like a real bad plane crash and
I don't know.
Get his whole body burned up?
I don't think so. Who?
Is he Travis Barker?
No.
He's not the drummer guy?
He is, but I don't think he got his whole body burned up.
Yeah. He got like in a plane crash.
When?
I don't know, like 5 years ago or something like that?
Maybe. I don't know. I know he's got badass tattoos, and he's like one of the baddest drummers ever. Like I'm not even a drummer dude, and I used to just listen to him drum because he is a bad.
Plane crash burns.
Oh, well, he looks good, man.
2008, so it's been almost a long time.
He's the Blink 182 fame. They're getting back together. But
Third degree burns 65% of his body.
We must have got him all covered with tattoos, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would have noticed because he was so covered in tats.
Shit.
So, and then Condoleezza Rice. I mean, just because of the elections. And plus, I always liked her. She fit us because she was always kind of a middle of the road gal. And those are the ones that I like. The only other stuff I had was on this day, the English Channel's first public train ran under, from France to England. And I always like growing up, that was going on. I didn't write down what year. But growing up, I remember they were digging that out. And you just always thought that was going to collapse and how creepy that would be to be. And I know they're quite a bit under the water, but just freaky.
Shit like that is where like people die the most at, like workers for stuff like that.
I have a bunch of stuff on the list today, but before we get to it, I want you to, if you like anything we do, go subscribe, follow us in a couple places. We're growing quickly, but not quickly enough. But basically, if you'll go to YouTube and go to YouTube.com/at Monday Morning Middle of the Road. Give us a subscribe. We're on Anchor. Subscribe on there. We're on Podbean. Just click the subscribe. I don't care if you listen. You know, you might like a show. We're on, like I said, Monday Morning Middle of the Road at gmail.com. Send us something. What's your TikTok, buddy?
Our TikTok is Middle of the Road Podcast at TikTok.
We're on Anchor FM. So far, I told you iTunes hasn't been doing as good. I was wrong. iTunes is by far our biggest download source. We thank everybody with your iPhones downloading us. I don't know how you even figure out how to do it, but we appreciate it. And we're on CastBox. We're on, I went and found 9 places.
Cash App.
No, we could be. Send us some.
Yep.
Venmo. I'm
Yep.
at Send Me Some Money. No.
Yep. At Venmo.
I'm going to read my list real quick because I don't think we're going to get to most of it. I have Casey's Confessions. I'm a horrible friend, and we'll get to it. Ricky Lake's pissed off she didn't win the governor of Arizona.
Not Ricky Lake.
Oh, sorry, Carrie Lake. The Dems stole the governorship or whatever. Dems stole the election. Greater Idaho, and that's a secession from Oregon, and I have better name ideas I want to get to. What's with Republicans hating actors and celebrities, yet they keep voting for them for politicians? Riots in Arizona. Anthony Rumble Johnson, which we'll get to that. Sad news. Mass shooting, we'll get to that. Sad news. Dave Chappelle's getting canceled.
I think he's uncancelable.
I think so. I think that was that's what we'll find out. And then number one thing you would miss if you were blind. And then also I did have I would call it a radio show war, but a podcast war with another podcast and see if how that goes. So did you have any? I know you had a couple stories.
We do.
We'll start off with the one I read because it looks like that's what you've pulled up. Or no?
Anthony Rumble Johnson,
Yeah.
He died at 38.
I heard he was sick. Did they still haven't released the cause of death, have they?
They haven't. No, just that he had been battling an illness. But, dude, do you remember when he was, coming up and it was just he could barely make weight and we're like, this dude's going to freaking kill this guy, whoever he fought.
Well,
did he ever end up fighting John Jones?
Yeah, they did, yes. I watched him when he first started fighting. He was in that PFL Fight League thing. And I remember watching his first or second fight there, and that dude, I was like, man, he's going to be a freak. And he was.
Let's see here.
He never quite completely lived up to the hype, but man, he was a bad MFer.
I got his fight record here. So his okay.
Maybe he didn't. I know he fought Cormier or whatever.
Cormier, yeah. So PF is what you're talking about. Let's see here. So notable people he beat in UFC. He lost to Kevin Burns, but then beat him. And let's see, he lost to Josh Koscheck. He beat Dan Hardy. He lost to Vitor Belfort.
At his prime.
Yeah. Let's see here. And that was UFC 142. And then, so that was UFC 142. That was in 2012. And then
that was when he was still fighting at 185 because he moved up to 205.
Yeah. So then he got out. He was out of the UFC for a while. He came back. No, he beat Andre Arlovsky.
Yep.
In decision. Let's see here. Nagiro, he beat him in UFC.
At 205.
Yeah, Alexander Gustafsson.
205. That was when that was right there, and then he fought Cormier after that, didn't he?
Yeah, he lost to Cormier
for a title right there.
Rear naked choke. He beat Ryan Bader. He beat Glover Teixeira. He lost to Daniel Cormier again the same exact way. And his last fight was May 7th, 2021. He beat Jose Augusta. He's got a lot of names.
He was not a ground game expert, but dude, that guy pounded. He was my kind of fighter. I love watching dudes pound other dudes, man.
So 23 wins, 6 losses.
Stuck to the tape.
I mean, we can kind of if we went if we had the technology to go back and do all the gay things that Casey said.
Oh, I can pull it right off. I'll have that on the board next week, man.
We just need this every time, and then I just need to be like gay every time.
I have
Casey
one of those.
I
did it. I said it earlier. TJ.
So yeah, pretty sad news. Also on some other sad news was, did you hear? Well, not super sad, but Jay Leno getting hurt in a
Yeah, I seen that. There's people
Serious
like kind
car?
of trolling him too
Yeah.
about it. Like, go figure, you got hurt in a car wreck or
Well,
whatever.
fuck, he has more cars than anybody. Jay Leno is
Uh-huh.
being treated for serious burns after he was injured in a car fire over the weekend.
Oh, so he wasn't in the same burns as Travis Barker. He didn't. it
No,
wasn't
that was in a plane. This was
Okay.
in a car.
all right.
So, according to TMZ, the former Tonight Show host was in his Los Angeles garage. He was probably working on some 1920s car that runs off of combustion or some shit
or
like that.
Steam powered.
Yeah, when one of his cars burst in flames, seemingly inexplicably, sources told the entertainment site that the left side of Leno's face was burned, but the flames didn't penetrate his eye or ear. So, I got some serious burns from a gasoline fire. I'm okay. Just need a week or two to get back on my feet, and then I'll be buying more cars that don't blow up.
Yeah, you think he's gonna be? Well, of course, electric's just as scary, but now he's gonna be pitching that electric stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I watched a show where he did he's got some like original electric car, and it's like an
Yeah.
89 or 90.
Yeah.
That's
If there's a car, he's got it.
Oh man, he's a freak for cars.
So one of our favorite people to talk about on here and all of his babies is Nick Cannon. Yeah.
Did we get his estimated?
Yeah, well,
his,
I do have it. I do have it here in these
his
stories.
child support
So
payments?
Nick Cannon says it cost his ex-wife Mariah Carey $150,000 or more just to walk out of the house each day,
just
to leave the house.
wonder. So like as far as clothes, all
Yeah.
that stuff, having somebody come over and get her ready.
Mariah don't step out of the house. It cost her $150,000 to $200,000 just to walk out of the house.
If that includes her, I wonder if that includes like her detail, like
Let's see
her
here.
security and all that.
Her security. Let's see.
Hair and makeup lady,
Yeah, could
your
you
fashion
imagine
designer,
having like that much. But here's what it says about he pays in child support. Nick Cannon, soon to be father of 12, talks about yearly multi-million-dollar child support. I thought mine was bad.
Yeah, no shit. But you don't have 17 kids from 12 moms
Yeah,
either.
if I had that. So a report from the Sun claimed that Nick paid nearly $3 million a year in child support. However, the musician told Neighborhood Talk that the actual number is much larger. So he's soon to have his 12th kid, and I don't know 12 if that counts the one that had passed away or not. But on Saturday, okay, so it's counting the one that had passed away. But right here, where is it? So Nick they already have a kid together. Him and his newest one have a 17-month-old. And then,
But is he actually with her, or is this just
I don't know
is
if
this
he's with
just
any
a
of these
donor?
girls.
That's why I said I think he just does donor women or whatever.
I mean, how does that work?
I don't know. Well, these girls are getting. I mean, what do you mean? How does it work? You're telling me when you were single and you hadn't met somebody that you fell in love with, say, or whatever, and somebody came along and said, "Listen, I want you to have my baby,
I guess, but I mean, I just
and I'm
want to
going
know.
to pay you X to do it." I mean, because
This dude works so much. How does he even have time to see these kids? And are they all like in one place? Are they
don't-
across the country?
I don't think
or
that he
what?
sees them half. I mean, he probably sees them once a month or whatever. I mean,
You
he
think?
says he spends time. I think you spend time with the younger ones, get them to know you. But there's no way you hear about all of these. I mean, Herschel Walker's kids. He never spent no time with them. All these. But you hear about it. A celebrity, athlete. I mean,
He's gonna be running out of names. Look,
Tom
they
Brady-
keep making up these words. This new kid's name's
Laquandi.
Zeppelin.
Oh.
Zeppelin.
that's a decent one.
Isn't that a blimp?
Yeah, or a car. They had
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I don't know. He's already got these other. Look at these. He's got a Zion and a Zillion.
Yeah.
A zillion is how much he pays in child
I was gonna
support a
say.
year.
That's the Yeah, that was my $1 zillion baby.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, so my man's paying it out.
Man, no thanks. I mean, I love kids. Don't get me wrong, but go adopt some, dog.
Well, I
Stop-
mean, he doesn't need to adopt him. He just keeps spreading his seed.
Well, I
and
know,
he's
but
making pretty good-looking kids.
Let's adopt some though. Give some of that money because you're not going to father these kids. You're going to have more black fatherless kids. And
They have daddies. The dad, they just don't see him.
yeah, and maybe he does. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he has a schedule where he works a week on and a week off, so he can.
Yeah, I don't think so. Alex Smith on his handsome scale of 1 to 10.
He's a 7.5.
I think he's pretty good looking.
He's a
dude.
good looking dude. He's got a goofy nose and he's got that weird. I don't like that. He's got that nose connects all the way to the mouth thing, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I know it's not his fault, but those little lines that I don't know what you call them, gowls.
Like a hair lip?
No, I mean And like and Booger's got him too, but he's got a big fat face. But you see
He's
the
got a big
the
old
cheeks
forehead.
fold over and just goes all it makes a perfect line right around
Oh, you're
his
talking
mouth.
about right here.
Yeah.
He just needs facial hair to cover it up.
Yeah.
That's all I really got for stories. I mean, the Virginia thing, but that's too depressing. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, but it fits the sports. I mean, and it might as well get to that before we try to make you smile a little bit. But
Former University of Virginia football player suspected of killing 3 players was wounded and wounding 2 other students late Sunday night is in custody after a manhunt in Charlottesville, Virginia.
was he still? See, and I read part of it. I didn't see he wasn't still a student because
Nah,
he had
he
been
was-
on the team since 2018.
Yeah, so this guy's name was
We don't give him the credit.
Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. So
Yeah,
here's your answer for that. He was a freshman running back on the team in 2018. So he's been off the team for
when I sent
25 years.
When I sent that story to myself, I sent "Stop the damn shooting." Like
Why don't these fuckers just kill themselves?
I don't know, because then they don't get that martyrdom that they're all going for.
I think a lot of these kids seriously think though too, like, oh, if I do that, I'll be famous. Like,
Well-
no, you're gonna fucking kill somebody.
Well,
and
in
then the rest of
somebody's
your-
well, the problem is in some worlds you do become a little bit, that weird cult fame. But not the Indianapolis Colts who got to win this.
and they
week.
won, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't get it, man. And like even a guy at work said, well, what if I'm guessing those guys probably messed with him or got him out. Nothing. There's
Who cares?
short of being like what's his name, Cain Velasquez, who all support his attempted murder on somebody who raped and beat his niece and stuff. But other than that, I just don't see. If somebody hurts your kids or your family, then go after them with everything. But if they just make you mad or get you kicked off of something, just move on, man.
Yeah.
Move on.
By the way, are we live on anything right now?
We're live on Facebook.
Okay.
On Monday Morning Middle of the Road page, not Monday Morning Papers page. We have a
Okay.
dual page we share with my old show, and then we have the Monday Morning Middle of the Road podcast page, and that is what we're live on Facebook. We're going to do better. I had Greater Idaho. So in the news, there are multiple counties that are seceding from, they voted to secede from Oregon. So far, there's been, I believe, 12 counties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 that have voted to secede. There's many other things that go into it. I read that like both state legislators have to agree on it. They have to agree on like a tax split because technically Oregon will still own the land. And I mean, it's a whole weird thing that most likely won't happen. All I wanted was Greater Oregon's just or Greater Idaho is just a horrible name. So my thought was.
So is that the kind of?
So basically, these are like. So what I read was it's 2/3 technically of the land of Idaho, if it seceded, or of Oregon that would move off, but it's less than 10% of the population. It's, it's a lot of the farmland though.
Yeah.
It's some of the great farmland, and I mean it's the normal things. It's too liberal. They don't want it. The high taxes, guns, and abortion are the 3 main things that they're kind of voting to leave. Voting for the reason to leave. That's not really what I care about. Just Greater Idaho sounds stupid, so I had a couple other names.
What you got for names for this thing?
My best or a couple of them were Idorgan.
Oregon.
Yeah, Idorgan. Then I had Orgaho.
I like that.
I know. I thought you'd like that one. Lesser Oregon. Just Idaho. And then I did have a horrible one. I won't
Let's
say
hear
it. We don't like blacks.
We don't like blacks. Okay.
Actually, I was just.
What about like not BLM Oregon?
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
It's long.
it's long. I think.
How about we don't shit in the streets,
Okay.
Idaho, not
Okay.
Oregon?
Well, that's where they're not voting as a city though. We got to get a whole state name.
Okay. How
Shit free.
about we don't lose in the beginning of the season every year and then they get ranked the rest of the year, or Idaho?
So that I don't know. I just Greater Oregon. I don't know, and it would be, I guess, a Greater Oregon if you added part of,
Yeah, I mean,
or Greater Idaho if you added part of
Greater
Oregon.
Idaho, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I still think Orgaho is the one I'm.
Orgaho, I like that.
Orgaho is the one I'm going with, or Lesser Oregon are my 2 votes. So that was it on that one. All right. I don't know if I have a sounder for this. Yeah, I don't think I have a good sounder for this, but So I told you I went to a funeral last Saturday.
Yep.
Family I lived with next door, stayed friends with, all of our life. My buddy lives up in Kansas City. And funeral, did that whole thing. A bunch of my old buddies and my brother's old buddies and all that are there. We did the funeral, we did the graveside thing, and then we went to a dinner and get together and everything. And one of the guys I haven't seen in a long time says, "Hey, you want to step outside for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, what's going on, man?" And he brought out some Delta 8.
Delta 8s, huh?
But not Delta 8. He brought out some illegal Delta 8s.
The real stuff?
Yeah, and rolled in a cigar. And I thought it was just a celebratory cigar, I didn't. But he said, "Hey, you want to step around this way?" We're walking around that way, and we see another buddy of ours who says, "Hey, I know where you guys are going." And he's sitting there with my buddy's 19-year-old son. They're talking out there. He was smoking a cigarette, not the 19-year-old son, which he can. Well, no, he can't because it's 21 to smoke cigarettes. And we walk around the corner, and he follows. And I said, "Hey," well, for his name, we'll call him Balix. I said, "Hey, bud, this isn't a cigar we're going to smoke." He goes, "Oh, I know what it is." I said, I'm not comfortable with it, And so we started our venture of taking a couple puffs off the cigar, and I wouldn't pass it to him. We passed it around, and we did our thing, and we're walking back inside. And he's like, "Man, I'm pretty nervous." And I said, "Don't worry, you won't be the first, and we'll change the last name. You won't be the first Mearns boy to walk into a family event stoned, I promise." And I said, I've walked in with your brothers or your uncles and your dad multiple times to events like this, and we've always got through it. I said, "Luckily, your dad knows." And he goes, "Oh, my dad doesn't know."
Dad doesn't know. He
So
does now because he's probably one of our loyal listeners, right?
He was going to start listening, so this was my confession. Sorry, Mon, that I got your son Balix high and did not know.
I think Balix has been doing that on his own.
He
for
did.
quite a while.
I said, he said, "Man, I did this in college," but also he's a recent college dropout.
Oh.
So not helping my case of, he's living back at home. And so he's a good kid though, man, and that dude can puff. No.
It's like he's done it a lot.
So that was my confession. I got my one of my friend's kids high, and he doesn't know he gets high. So Balix, you're busted now, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to talk about the red wave or not?
Not really.
Not really. The only reason I bring it up is because during our last show, you asked how am I going to feel coming in here after the red wave.
I did say that?
You did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can listen back. But you talked, the red wave's coming. And
Well,
so,
either way, get rid of Nancy Pelosi's nasty ass.
Yeah.
She gone.
So the House got taken back over. The Senate, which wasn't really, looks like we may gain one seat if Warnock wins. Governors were kind of a split. Here locally, we talked about it, I think. Well, no, we hadn't since, but Kelly won. Me, unfortunately, the Psycho Kolbach won. You've already said you were fine with Kelly. She hasn't done bad. We've got a Republican-controlled House and Senate, and all she can really do is veto stuff. She doesn't get a lot through. So I like, even me, as a full-on Democrat, that's why I do a show called Middle of the Road. I don't like when one party controls everything, because everything that gets done is only going to get vetoed in the next presidency.
Yeah.
If something gets done in this term, hopefully something gets done. Sure, we're going to get Hunter Biden investigations. We're going to get return on all the things they did to Trump, and I get it. Don't care. It's a distraction at best. But we'll see if he really did some shit, bust him. I don't care. But whatever. That's all I had to say on that. And I did say the red wave or red splash, and it ended up being a red splash. So
yeah.
My mom, she called me. My mom's obviously hardcore liberal, drunk as hell the other night, right when I guess they called Nevada for the Democrats, and she called, "I don't mean to make you mad. I just want to," I'm like, "Why would you make me mad about it? I'm on your team, man." I said, "If you were calling talk shit on the Cowboys, that I'd be sad." But then my last thing, why do Republicans hate actors and celebrities, yet they keep voting for them? And the only reason, and they don't actually, because Ricky Lake lost, Oz lost, Walker might, but then you still have, your Arnold, your Reagan, your Trump, Sonny Bono, I didn't know was Republican or a politician.
He's also dead.
Now, Jesse Ventura,
Jesse Ventura is not Republican,
but
though.
he is. I
Not
mean, he's an
really.
independent, but he's hard. I mean, he is. He's
He's
more
crazy.
Yeah, he is crazy.
I was just, speaking of him, I just saw something on TikTok today about
Running
him.
Man. Oh,
Well, yeah. He was on Pierce Morgan, and he was, I don't know when this was. This could
Yeah.
have been a while back. And they were talking about 9/11. And Pierce goes, Jesse, if you were president, what would you have done on September 12th, 2001? And he said, well, the first thing I would have done is I would have investigated really hard into what really happened.
yeah.
And he goes, you know,
Not come out the next day, declare who did it.
yeah,
and-
pretty much. He
yeah.
said I would have spent more time investigating into it. And he goes, you know, almost every single war that's ever been started has been started over some sort of a false flag, whatever that would be. And Pierce Morgan goes, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that somebody did that on purpose? And he goes, well, I mean, it was known a long time before that Bin Laden was going to use planes to do something like this, and then it happened. And he was telling a story about how during, press coverage and stuff from it, there was a tape, and I'd like to look this up too because I haven't seen it, was that there was a tape of a BBC reporter practicing like right before they were getting ready to go on air, talking about how Building 7 had just collapsed. And while they were doing it, Building 7 was still standing there, right there, and they're talking about it collapsing.
Had the other one collapsed though, or was 7 the
Buil-
first one?
No, Building 7 was the one off to the side that didn't even get hit by anything.
Okay.
And it was the one that had all the money in it.
Okay.
And if you listen to conspiracy theorists talk about it, the whole reason for them attacking those is to get rid of Building 7 because there was a whole shitload of money lost, just fucking disappeared, like the week or something of September 11th.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, that was kind of interesting. I'd like to get that. We need to find us like a September 11th hardcore conspiracy theorist.
I would
person.
like to know if we did that, then find somebody that actually investigated or was part of some of the stuff. Because I mean, I don't believe it was any government that did it, but I do believe they, I don't know what I
There's
believe.
a lot of weird
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
All I know is that it just makes you fucking mad when you think about it. I hope it's not true. But anyways, that was my Jesse Ventura thing. And he lives like in Mexico, like 100 miles off of a dirt road, off of a paved road, out in the middle of
Doesn't he
freaking
live
nowhere.
right next to, what's his name? Cat Scratch Fever? Oh.
I don't think anybody
just
lives
joking.
where he lives. I think like all of it, he don't even have electricity out there. Like, I mean, he has generators and
Yeah.
stuff, but
I did have riots in Arizona and Nevada. I didn't know if you were going to those.
no, I'm not going to be there.
And then, the Democrats on our side, we had Jerry Springer, Al Franken, and we had Clay Aiken running. And the only reason I even brought it up was, apparently in 2004, we had...
Clay Aiken's a liberal?
Yeah, Clay Aiken
Are
is
you sure?
He's a Democrat. Yeah, he ran for 2014 House of Representatives in North Carolina unsuccessfully, and then was an unsuccessful candidate in the 4th District of North Carolina in 2022.
Clay Aiken gay?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe I would believe so.
Yep.
That's what I would, if I noticed two things about you.
If I noticed two things. He can sing well?
Decent singer, gay.
Yes.
So apparently in 2004 we had a write-in candidate, and apparently she had to have either got some votes to make this list, but she was America's first pornographic film, and I figured if you wanted to do some research, but it was Marilyn Chambers.
Maryland, how do you spell it?
Marilyn.
I'll do research.
Chambers. You know how to spell that one?
Mm-hmm.
And so she ran on the Party of Choice and the Boston Tea Party. So I would consider that probably
Boston. There we go, right here.
And then also, and this one I don't get it.
Oh, she's old.
Well, is she now?
These are like old stuff. These are like 80s.
Yeah, she's born 1952.
Oh, yeah.
So she was would be a year older than my dad. But she was ranked one of Playboy's top 100 sex stars of the century in 1999.
She's like, look at that 80s hair. 80s Bush.
Oh man, that's like watching Charlie's Angels, man.
Mhm.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
It's like a different version of Charlie's Angels.
Yep.
It's Charlie's Whore Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2020, I did not know this. We had a Democratic candidate who was a pornographic film star or film actress, and this one, I don't know, how do you say Sherry DeVille?
Is that with the S?
Cherie.
Yep.
Cherry DeVille. Sherry DeVille.
Sherry. Like something's up with my computer.
You too much of the porn you're opening there. Probably you don't got your safe search on. She ran, and I would think you'd have to get votes and stuff, but everything I see on her is in French. So I don't know. She's
Canada?
44 years old. I don't know, but she ran for the 2020 presidential election. So
Good for her.
yeah. So the list, there's a bunch of other ones on there. Melissa Gilbert, but
Isn't that Darlene?
no, it's this chick, and I didn't.
Okay.
I recognize her from something, but I don't know where. She looks just. And then the chick from Sex and the City ran for mayor twice. The redhead chick, and she was a Republican.
Oh,
No, she
yeah,
wasn't.
okay,
She was
I
a
know that.
Democrat. What else, buddy? Did you? We got to the Rumble stuff. Did you want to do? Did you have the Chappelle thing brought up or?
I watched the monologue and then I watched one skit while we were waiting for Yellowstone.
I just seen this story. Dave Chappelle SNL monologue condemned by Anti-Defamation League CEO as backlash grows. And one of the shows I listened to, I didn't watch any of it. I was gonna possibly watch the show tonight because I enjoy him, and I heard that the skits were freaking awesome because he just makes people funnier, man. And
Yeah, I wanted to watch that dude.
that league,
Oh
man.
my God.
We're watching the NFL pregame, but in the Nebraska,
He was like 10 feet in the air.
yeah, in the Nebraska
his
Michigan
nuts.
guy, this dude tried.
Come
he
on,
tried
man, my
jumping the dude,
balls.
and he got helmet in the taint. That's a taint tackle. You don't see a lot of taint tackles in the NFL.
What was the deal with Tom Brady? Did they try to throw a pass to him and he fell down or something like that?
It got intercepted. No,
But he slipped or something.
Well,
right?
yeah, but the guy picked it off before. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Well, the picture I saw was Tom was laying on the ground.
yeah, because I think he went to try to tackle the dude. The dude like read it and just, straight cut the route and
Yeah, because I saw that Tom's posted it with him on the ground and said, if I wouldn't have slipped, I would have been like Randy Moss or something like that.
Well, because it looked like it was one of those hike it, throw it, and then throw it again. Like he was
Yeah.
going to catch it and throw it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't assume he's going to run a bunch. I don't like Penn State, but I do like their coach, man. He had a rule about something, and
He had to do some push-ups.
yes, we had to do push-ups.
Oh, this might be it.
Yep, here it is. Oh, I guess it.
He
nope.
did fall.
Okay, he did. It was just a regular pass.
That's what happens when you play in Germany.
I don't get why you would. I seen a.
Damn, he
Almost
got
got.
laid on.
Yeah, he almost. Well, luckily, I don't think he's gonna have any more. Well, he might. I don't know. You like the trip there, the kick there?
I just watched something that Giselle went out on they spotted on a date with somebody.
Well, and I think the word is she's the one that wanted the divorce. I
Probably.
don't think he did.
You know how much top tier Tom Brady's going to be getting
Right now, I don't know. He's getting canceled.
after the season.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. Yeah, he doesn't do that during the season. He can't run his legs. He's like what was, you used to always hear. What's the Oscar De La Hoya? He used to always say like 3 months before
No
a fight,
sex
he
or
wouldn't
whatever.
have sex.
But
'cause
women are supposed to have it all the time. Like Ronda Rousey was saying, she does it like a lot.
Yeah, because I guess that you release endorphins in a guy and it pulls away from, I don't know, your whatever. But Dave Chappelle's latest Saturday Night Live monologue is predictably beginning to attract controversy, but not for the reasons that you might expect. The comedian managed to steer clear of gender and sexuality related issues that often get him in trouble, but his jokes about America's recent problems with how do you say that word?
I can't
Semitism, I know, have generated some backlash. And only appears to be growing. And really, most of his stuff was talking about like Kanye getting canceled and everything that I can't speak about it all. I'll have some more on it next week when I
Yeah.
listen to it. But everything I heard him saying was in response to them guys saying stuff and basically making jokes about what you can't say because it's a comedy show called Saturday Night Live, and
You can't be funny. Not allowed to
Not,
be funny.
it's just like I said, and that's why they only read to this because if you listen to our show, go download it, the interview, anywhere that it is. I'm gonna get canceled. That's fine.
I think I called somebody a Jew too during that.
You
'cause-
know, well, you just said the Jews, and we said, oh, we both, even the black guy in the room reacted when you said that. Like, he's a black guy that I started out an interview with, noticing his color, and I noticed the military thing first,
Yep.
and then his color, and he was more offended by your Jew comments. So
He just noticed it because you're not allowed to say it right now, 'cause, like it's a big secret.
a 100-year-old man goes viral for celebrating his birthday at a Dallas strip club with his daughter.
Hell yeah.
I just thought that was awesome.
Does his daughter work there?
She looks
would have
like
to be
she
super
could.
old. She'd have to be really old.
Or he's one of those dudes like Tom Brady that had kids into his 70s.
Or like Alec Baldwin, who's having kids still, and he's 70.
Living past 100 years in life is definitely a massive milestone. Many wonder what the keys are to reaching that far in life, as many simply take care of their mental health and physical health. This past weekend, a man in Dallas officially turned 100. Jack Polma, according to TMZ, his daughter Diana helped him celebrate by taking him to a local strip club. No, apparently she doesn't work there. This was the Lodge. However,
Her daughter works there, though.
I was going to say, however, Tiny explained how much Jack is into women as well as certain features of theirs. Well, yeah, their tits and their ass.
Ooh, me too.
A group of dancers happily welcomed Jack into the Lodge as his birthday cake and pepper pasta were brought out to him, and his tea and teeth were washed. No.
Do you think Jack can still like get hard and then like come at 100 years old?
I don't know. I would like to think so. I think, but if not, I don't know. That's hard to
I wonder
know.
what age.
I call it 3 in so we can, be politically correct.
Okay, so I asked one of my uncles a while back when we were hunting. I said, "At what age do you stop like jerking off?" And he was
goes,
probably 60 at that
he
time.
goes, "I'll let you know when
he
I do."
said he'd let me know. So,
I think there's certain people that, don't. The guy behind me at work, he's 63, says he doesn't, but hasn't since he was in his 40s.
does he have a wife that lets him fuck him?
I don't think so anymore. I think once you don't sometime, like almost masturbating makes it worse because you want it. So like once you just lose the urge like I have recently.
So like the person that we know, that you and I both know really well, that we know his wife doesn't ever give him sex at all. Do you think he spends a lot of time jerking off, or you think he just don't even have it no more?
I think he has turned it into a celebration where just like sex, it's like a once a month thing. He has to earn it. He probably does it a shower thing, sets up candles and makes it, he doesn't want to, he wants to overhype it, but not do it too much because then again, it makes you start thinking about sex too much.
I would think once a month for him, like real sex from his wife would be overdoing it. Like
I know that's why you said, but you got to do it once a month to prepare for the once a year or whatever.
Yeah, I would say he probably gets sex 6 months, 6 times throughout the year.
It's hard to know. It depends how heavy a sleeper she is or those things.
I don't think he even could do that.
Yeah, that poor guy.
I know one time I was told that it was March or April, and that had happened one time, and during that one time, it resulted in a baby coming.
So I went through a phase after first kid and after second kid where it was definitely slowed for quite a period, and I think that
but your slow would still be 10
No.
times the amount.
Well, maybe, but no, we were to the point where it was, maybe once every 3 months or whatever for a certain
This person's been going on that streak for
No,
like
I know
over 10
their whole
years.
career. I know, and ours changed. I mean, we first got together; it was once a day. Then it was but we try. Of course, lately, a lot of things going on, but we try to get in each other's comforts once a week at least.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do it 5 times in a week and then not do it for 3 weeks too. Just depending on what's going on, and sometimes I just don't feel pretty. I have
be a lot.
I have the wife that would let me, whether she wants to or not, would pretty much let me when I want to.
Yeah, me too.
But I also sometimes want them to want me. I want them.
It feels good. It
Feels good for a girl just to come pull you into the room
Yeah.
instead of me
You
waiting
want-
for them to be changing their shirt and throwing them on the bed or whatever. You know.
just want to be wanted.
Yeah, just tell me I'm sexy every once in a while. So, I did have 3 stories, and then we'll move on to sports.
Do I get to pick one?
Yeah, I'll let you pick this.
By the way, did you see this? It's up here that he cashed in on Seth Rollins for the U.S. title
And then got
and
beat.
then lost it.
That's awesome.
They must have some other plan for him. They wanted to get him off that for whatever reason.
I wish they'd change his character because I really think he could be.
What about his blonde hair?
I don't like it.
No.
I liked it when he had the little streak of it, but I don't
Well, I think
like
it started that way and just ended up like that.
But
What a fucking.
He is a-
Where does he buy this shit at?
I don't know. He's
We're
some of
talking
his-
about Seth Rollins' suit and his hair.
We're
And his-
watching out in the studio right now.
I like his beard.
We're watching Delaware State, who is given, and there's been a lot. We'll get to that in basketball or in sports here in a minute, but a lot just in football, basketball, close games. Delaware State and Villanova. We're watching WWE Raw, and then we're watching Monday Night Countdown, or the game started now, or getting ready to start. So,
All right, let's hear these stories.
3 stories for you. I have 2 of them are Guinness record breaking. Man visits 78 pubs in 24 hours. Guinness record. Guinness record longest beard chain.
What's that?
Guinness record longest beard chain.
What's a beard chain?
Beards tied together for the longest
Oh.
consecutive time. And number 3, a handgun found in a raw chicken at an airport.
I want to know about the Guinness Book.
You want to know about the
Beard.
beard chain?
Yeah.
I've seen that one got your thing.
I'm assuming that these are men, like regular men.
I would assume.
It could be one of those transgenders. That
So it
take
looks
the
like it's
test.
just long guys that have essentially clipped their beards together and stood in.
That looks like the guy from that MythBusters show.
This
on the
one
left.
here?
You know, with the
Yeah.
mustache guy.
Yeah, they all look like my dad.
Yeah.
Casper,
You're starting to too.
Casper, Wyoming. Facial hair enthusiasts claim they have set a new record for the longest beard chain during an event in Wyoming on Friday. There was a vote and beard chain event in Casper, or the Casper Star Tribune reports. Participants gathered at a Gaslight Social, a bar in Casper, where they stood side by side and clipped their beards together to create a hairy chain that was measured at 150 feet long, according to the
Dang.
newspaper. The men,
How many dudes?
the more than doubled the Guinness record of 62 feet 6 inches in Germany. Fuck you, Germans.
Yep.
They make better razors in Germany, but that's why we wear the beards.
Is that where Gillette comes from or
To
something?
participate, people needed to sport a beard at least 8 inches long. I'd be just out of this, according to the
How long?
8 inches.
What are you at?
I don't. Probably 6. I don't know. Maybe it got trimmed down a little bit. My hair.
You're talking about your beard, though, right?
Yes, Wiener 3.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
The event occurred on the sideline of the National Beard and Mustache Championships, which took place Saturday in the city Ford, Wyoming Center. So, I don't know, man. I would have liked to gotten an invite.
Yeah. Well, maybe next year you'll be.
I think that's what I want to do. I'm gonna start reviewing, and for next show, me and you are gonna figure out a Guinness record we can break.
We can break.
So
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but we'll start doing some reviewing on the dumbest ones, or like, most Christmas lights on a house, and we'll pick my house or yours or something.
I already currently am in a Guinness Book of World Records.
What for?
Allen Fieldhouse for loudest indoor
Okay. Well,
noise.
then I guess I could be in one too, because I was at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium when they set the indoor professional record for attendance
attendance
at 107,000
for
something.
a football game.
Yep, for a pro football
For a
game.
football game. Yep.
So that was
we're already in the.
it was
Guinness Book of
standing
World
record, and they had people outside to break this record because they have a standing. You've been
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That area they open up.
Yeah.
It was filled out the back of that.
Oh, okay.
But they were offering, like, once they knew they were close, they dropped the standing tickets that we got to like $12 a ticket to,
Oh, yeah.
to break the record. So.
Nice.
And it was like their second or third game in the stadium, so it was pretty cool. Last one I did have, and I won't even read it, but white teacher in Texas gets put on administrative leave for telling students that his race is superior.
Don't they know you can't say stuff like that now?
Yeah, I don't. Apparently it was a rant. We listened to it at work, and in deep in his heart, he's saying that
Ethnicity.
whatever. Ethnic, I don't know. I
give
can't
up.
say that word. That's like Conrad trying to say archaeologist.
He can't say that.
It's the one that ends in C. that he believes in his heart that the race is superior, not by anything else, just that they are cleaner, better people.
Huh.
I don't know. So I like that they just put him on administrative leave. He's a really good teacher. He's touched a lot of students in this Catholic school. So, sports.
I got something before we go on to sports.
Okay.
This is a hypothetical situation, and if you could kill somebody and get away with it, how would you kill them, and then what would you do with their body? Now, I'm talking about you wouldn't go to jail, you wouldn't go to hell. You could just.
I don't want to do this because
you gotta answer how you.
What
would
I'm saying is I don't want to do this because I don't want to give away
your secrets.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Okay, give away your second way of you would do it.
How would I like?
How would you kill somebody? Would you like to kill somebody hand to hand? Would you like to shoot somebody?
I honestly would not.
Strangle somebody like that pussy on the patient that strangled people.
I don't think I would. I mean, and I know I would never want. I mean, to kill somebody. I would. I pray my life, even in a situation where I need to kill somebody. I don't want to. I'm that person that would rather shoot beside them to get them to run away and maybe realize what they're doing wrong. Now, if they're harming my fucking family...
Okay, but you would have no guilt. Like, you would be cleared of remorse.
I still don't have nobody on the list. I don't know. I would...
You don't have anybody on your list?
No. Not that I want to kill, man. I would rather... You know, if it's me, I want to punch them. I want to put them in a tube and then put a toilet over them and shit on them until they die. Maybe that would be my way, I guess. And then you wouldn't find them in there either because they're in a tube under a toilet. Until that back, you know.
Until he felt like he drowned in shit?
Yeah, or eats it or whatever. I don't know, man. Eat shit, you know, and die.
Yeah.
That would be my, I don't know. I'm not a, I've thought of a couple, you know, there's been some people throughout my life that have done some things to me, but I mean, that's the reason I'm a vegetarian. It's not just because I don't want to kill animals. I believe in not killing people. I mean, I just don't believe in, you know, death. I don't know, man. It's weak, I know, but what's yours?
If I could, in my fucked up way of thinking, I don't know. I think I'd like to hang somebody.
See, I could not do that. That would be the absolute worst.
I think yeah, that's what I'd like to do. I think I would like to hang somebody, and then I think how I would get rid of a body would be kind of like how did you watch Dahmer?
No, I haven't.
Well,
okay, I take that back. I watched like the first episode and a half.
The only way I think that you could do it, it was just kind of.
So you would eat them?
No.
No, because that seems like that's where you're going.
No, he did this thing where and I've seen it, and I saw it on Sopranos one time too. Was they got it down to like the bones, the body, which I guess you would have to burn it or something like that, and then they put it like in a bag or a sack or something. They just smashed it with a hammer until it
was powdered
it down, and then just dispersed throw it in a.
I might go with the
lake
pain
or
and gain.
like
I might
that.
go with the pain and gain and the acid. Like if I had to get rid of a body,
Really? Yeah.
I think I
like
would.
on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I think I would be an acid guy, like just to see the effects of it. You know, I mean,
it'd be
like
weird
me.
to
I
see.
think maybe that dude that Cain Velasquez didn't catch up with
That's
something.
what I mean. I'm not talking about just.
I know, but even still, then I don't believe in death penalty. I mean, I'm just.
You don't believe in death penalty?
I don't, man.
So if somebody killed somebody that you cared about,
I know
you
that
wouldn't want them to.
that changes my opinion. I've never been put in that situation though, so I get why there is one. I'm just saying I'm not saying that there's not people that don't deserve it. I just am not for it. I mean, I'm not an eye for an eye or whatever. I mean, I believe, I believe there are people that deserve to die too. I mean, that's
Yeah. But you don't believe.
I don't believe me being the judge of that. I don't believe me being the executioner or whatever. I'm just not.
So how much money would it take for you to be the executioner person? Like if you were paid to do that?
Ooh, that'd be.
Say all you gotta do is push the lethal injection button. What would you do that job for, per hour?
Probably. Well, just $10 more a year than I make now. So you made me rethink things now.
Yeah.
No,
I think that would be. I mean, what's that movie with Billy Bob and Heath Ledger where they with
I know what you're talking
Halle
about.
Berry where she shows her tits in it.
That's
Monsters Ball.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that would be.
See, I was thinking more Green Mile.
Well, I actually read the book Green Mile, and that was a pretty good book. Well, by read, I mean I listened to it while I was driving somewhere. But
speaking of listening to, we'll mess up how we do the sports thing this week, just because it gets me into two of my things at one time. This weekend I was doing Christmas lights yesterday when when pro football was going on. So I listened to my first whole telecast and then 3/4 of the Cowboys game, honestly, a little over half. I had to listen to the national announcers on the Cowboys game. That was horrible, but I listened to the Vikings and
So you didn't get to see that Justin Jefferson catch?
no, I got to hear it though. It was almost as good,
Yeah.
man, listening to their announcers call it. But to me, that could be a potential. I'm not a Vikings guy, but that could be a potential Super Bowl matchup as Vikings and the Bills, and it lived up to the hype. I mean, Bills jumped out on top. Josh Allen not supposed to play, injured, has a damn good game. He did throw 2 bad picks.
And then fumbles it in the end zone.
Yeah, and that fumble in the end zone changed the game. When it's crazy. I'm listening to that game and I watched the highs and lows of like local, because they were the like Ben Lieber and some other dude. They were the Vikings announcers.
Ben Lieber from K-State, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he was a Viking linebacker for a long time. And dude, he's they're going nuts, and they get down there to score, and then they don't get it on 4th down, and they're like, but they're like, it comes down to a field goal missing a kick because they could have kicked the field goal and tied it, and then it just goes on this whole tangent where they had to go for the football, and he's like, but listen, we were going to talk about them being 7-2 one way or the other. This way they come back, and then all of a sudden, he fumbled the ball.
I
He
couldn't believe
fumbled the ball. And that's when you, I guess, had texted me, and I didn't realize, because I'm listening to it. My phone's coming through with 30 different, or beep, 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 beep. So I just shut my notifications off because I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to do lights, and I had talked to my wife, so I knew things were good at home. So I knew I didn't need to have my phone to get anything. Well, in that time, my wife texted me that that Zeke wasn't playing and my lineup was going to get screwed up, which I could have fixed, and I would have won 2 different matches in fantasy football with literally one of them with just 2 points. So I could have played the backup.
Anybody?
I could have played Dallas's backup running back Davis, and would have got it. But I listened to that game, and it was awesome, man. Like, I used to prefer listening to like Chiefs games because
Like when Brian would always do that?
yeah, like Mitch Holtis called them. I used to love listening to Shockers game. I didn't like the guys that were calling them when it was Bruce Hurdle and them. So I would turn on the radio and we'd watch it kind of like Brian did.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. But I also listened to a lot of Shockers basketball, and I've listened to a ton of Royals baseball because I was huge. I'm a Royals fan, especially during their run, and so I would listen to a lot of games at work and stuff during the day just because why not?
Yeah.
And so but I've never thought I liked listening to football. It's usually not called that good. You miss so much action. Those 2 dudes.
See, I've heard them before back when Diggs made that catch.
Uh-huh.
I've heard that. I heard
Like
that
their
call
announcement?
before. Yeah, it was awesome.
No,
And
like
then-
even listen to their announcers, like they still love Diggs, because he was there. So
Yeah.
they're like our Diggsy,
Yeah.
like Diggsy's tearing us up this game, but it was just kind of cool. And I've listened to a couple. I don't really like the Cowboys announcers, and I couldn't get one of the stations is like just some guys that don't know them a lot, but it's one of the stations you can actually get. That always sucks.
Back before Max Falkenstein and Bob Davies retired, I love listening. I mean, it's still good, but
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Not the same.
As you grow up listening to Max, and
He's the one that does the Hawk Talk too. He used to do the Hawk Talk.
Bob Davies did.
Oh, okay.
Max I don't know if he's even still alive or not, but I remember one time I was walking.
At the Salty Iguana.
Yeah, one time I was walking like out of the tunnel, and I was walking just walking with Max Falkenstein, and I was like, oh shit! Like I didn't say anything but I just thought he was just some random old guy, but fuck, it was Max Falkenstein. He was awesome, and it just shit like that reminds you of your childhood or whatever when you're like, oh man, brings me back.
Well, I don't have a lot. It led me to, which in a sad story going on in my house, we won't get to that, but what would you miss the most if you were blind? And I would have said watching sports up until this weekend.
Yeah, that would make a...
But what I find now is if you could get the right, like even like watching UFC, Joe Rogan calling it and some of those guys call it, dude, they call a good enough fight. You can visualize the fight going on.
If they're good enough at it.
Yes, and so that would be, so what would you said seeing your wife's boombies off air, but is that really your number one?
Just,
I have so much
seeing your kids because, like, how much even as a dad now, like, my kids live 700 miles away, so sometimes, like, my baby, Claire, we'll just be like, holy shit, Claire looks so much different.
Uh-huh.
Like, you'd miss, I would hate to not be able to see my kids grow up.
I would hate to. My honestly would be the reaction on people's face when I just some of the shit that I say. You can laugh, you can do the O's, all that, but just seeing the disgust or the happiness on people's face when
You wouldn't be able to do sarcasm very well if you're blind, I'm guessing. 'cause
Exactly.
You wouldn't be able to
I can think
judge somebody when they're like, oh, yeah, or they get a shit-eating grin at you and you don't know.
Yeah, people would be easy, but I think you would be better at being sarcastic because everybody thinking you're blind thinks you're being serious, and you could just fuck with people all the time. So
Yeah. Well, so like that, like if you were deaf, how would you ask for water? If you were blind, how would you ask for water?
probably just go get it.
But if you were blind, how would you ask somebody for water?
I don't know. I'd probably learn sign language. We can't do sign language. I don't know.
If you're blind, how would you ask me for a cup of water?
I would just ask you.
How?
Can I have a cup of water? Will you go?
About fucked it up the
Will you
first
go
time.
get me a cup of water?
There you go.
I don't know.
You did it wrong. You did what I was looking for the first time.
I know. I was kind of playing with you there. Other than that, football scores. Carolina, I don't care about. Tampa Bay wins the Germany game. The only thing I noticed off of that, they were showing like the.
Are they doing this every week out of?
I don't know.
Out of
I
the
think
country
I
thing?
think they're done now. I think that was the last one. Maybe there's one
What's
more.
the point?
Just to bring you nationalize audience or world
worldwide,
audience.
yeah.
And I think there's been some talk about like Germany possibly starting a team and somehow with the way travel is like coming over and playing a schedule here or like NFL wants to expand and it may start out as like NFL Germany and have like 4 teams over there.
Kind of like they did the Europe thing.
Yeah. So the Minnesota Bills game, we talked about that. The other game I
So
listened
did the Cowboys win? I really
Nope, they
didn't
lost.
watch. Really?
They were up most of the game. Actually, they were down. Then they were up 28-14.
Oh man. Oh, I saw that.
Yesterday was a game where we could have had the argument maybe Cooper should be the starter. Dak he made a couple throws that just
I saw that he was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, and he was saying about how Kelsey snaps the ball so fucking hard that it's the hardest to catch of any snap he's ever taken.
God, I hate them, but they're pretty good this year, man.
Yeah.
I got their defense playing tonight, and I don't need them. Detroit squeaks one out over Chicago, and
Did you see Skip?
I didn't, but I listened to a bunch
He's
of
still
that.
on the team. I know that.
I listened to a bunch of that game. I know Fields had like literally the game of his life,
And they
then
still
lost. Man, I mean, he had like at one point, I don't know what he finished up with, but I'm trying to find it here. He was 12 of 20 for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception, 13 carries for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns. Played his ass off. I mean, yeah, he had 1 interception, but he's gonna be a good quarterback. I didn't think he was last year, and he's got to learn to throw better. But he's kind of where Hurts was last year. He's a year behind in the offense, his third coach or whatever in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I mean, we had the same system the entire time I was at Belle Plaine. I'm not saying it was a good system.
That's what happened.
But just a coach changing terminology, even if it's the same system, makes it hard. I can't imagine terminology and system.
Since we're speaking about high school, Conway is 1 game away from the state championship. They play Inman this Friday at Conway. Earlier in the season, I think it was 3 or 4 games ago, Conway beat Inman when they were the number 1 team in the state by 3 touchdowns, basically. They had the team they beat last week, which was, I can't even say it, Wabanoosie or something like that, which is smaller. It's smaller than Viola. I don't even understand how it works. But they beat Smith Center earlier in the season, and then Conway beat them, and then Inman just beat Smith Center. So they got all these things, and Conway's already played them, so we'll see what happens. Conway hasn't been this far since they won state the last time, which was 2011. So I think I might actually go to this game. It'll be the first time going to a Conway football game in 5 years. So
I don't usually pay a lot of attention, but because it was going on loud enough, my wife was listening to the Derby game, and that was a hell of a game, back and forth. They end up winning.
And they're playing Manhattan, right?
Yep.
Who they lost to.
Or like second game of the year, or first game of the year.
I think it was the first game of the season, because I remember.
And they're way 2 different teams, but it sounds like.
Looks like Mays won too.
Quarterback broke his ankle or fractured it or something, their quarterback, and so I don't know if he'll be back or a high ankle sprain, or I don't know what the final verdict was. So My funny one was there was a huge break in there. You know, it was like partway through the second quarter, and Denver was up 10-0 on Tennessee, and they're like, maybe
what's his name still playing?
Russell Wilson.
No, the other black guy.
Tennessee's no, I
quarterback.
think Tannehill was back this week.
Okay.
And they were up 10-0. Yeah, Tannehill was back, 19 of 36 for 255 and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry didn't get nothing going. 19 carries, 53 yards, 2.8 a carry.
Did he have cancer or something that game or what?
Now
Jeez.
that Denver Bronco run defense is insane, but that's all they could stop. So they were up 10-0. They didn't score again. It was 17-10. Tennessee comes back and wins that one. So Russell Wilson's still Russell. Hey, he has the same thing. What would you do? Well, I'm going to rechange my thing. What would I do if I was blind? I would go become the Broncos starting quarterback.
Ooh.
The only other game, Kansas City dominated, which they didn't even really. They were up big, and then I did see a thing. Mahomes has got like 25 wide receivers killed in his career.
Yeah, what happened with Juju?
Juju, I just got blown up. I haven't heard concussion protocol or what, but they just showed on one of the YouTube shows I was watching last night all of the receivers he's got blown up, and he doesn't even like think about where he's throwing. You know, like some quarterbacks won't throw the ball because he doesn't care. You know, and it's not a bad thing or a good thing. He just throws the ball. If you go get it, that's up to you. And Schuster Smith, he won't be going after those for a while. He's going to be gun shy because he caught it and got blown up, man.
Did they take that guy to jail afterwards, probably?
No, I think he got kicked out of the league, but not. Indianapolis, Jeff Saturday's first game or whatever there, he wins, so Cowboys lose. College football, did you watch it? We didn't. You were doing lights with me, so I didn't watch a whole lot. Michigan got a win. There was no big upsets. There were some close games. Notre Dame barely beaten Navy. Ohio State barely beat Indiana 56-14. LSU and Arkansas, which bad as Arkansas's been and how LSU's been playing, that was 10-13. So the only top 25 matchups were UFC and Tulane, which UFC won that one 38-31. Alabama and Mississippi. Mississippi had them all game, and Alabama ended up coming back and winning. They stay in the top 10. Georgia keeps rolling. Oh, Oregon and Washington, and guess what? Oregon lost when they play a top 25 team, 37-34. So K-State rolled. KU did not. They didn't look real good this week. And I told you that Texas Tech, it was just a different kind of team, but they're still, yeah, Jalen's back this week, so we'll see.
Yeah, I just saw that he's coming back. It's crazy he's coming back for the Texas game.
Their coach literally said it at the press conference. No, he said, we expect him. Like, they were asking questions, and like he said, we expect Jalen back. Like, he, you know.
Yeah, they just said it on Twitter just a few minutes ago that he is cleared, and it's up to him. So
TCU, Texas was supposed to be a shootout and ended up being a pretty low-scoring game. So there were some good games. Before we get to wrestling, you had a little bit on that. I was going to do a quick It's time! Quick UFC breakdown, but basically the main card, my takeaways were Dan Hooker fought this Claudio, I don't even know how to say his last name, but he's a young up-and-coming, and he's a ground guy. He got one ankle, like he dropped and grabbed his foot early in the fight and took Hooker down, and then it was like 2 rounds of him trying to do that, or like the rest of that first round and the second round until he got knocked out by body kicks. He got 2 front kicks that finished the fight. I've never seen a kick to the chest. And on the last one, because he got him with the first one, he literally got him with 2 toes, but you could still see, he got him right in the sternum, and dude just dropped, game over. Frankie Edgar's last fight was a vicious knockout by a knee. It was gross, man. It sucks to see a guy like that because I didn't like Frankie.
It's almost the way they all go down.
I know.
It's
you
like
can't go out gracefully.
Unless you just walk away.
Not in a combat sport like this. You know, that's why I think like George St. Pierre did what he did. He didn't want that. He didn't want that Hughes and some of them, you know, taste in his mouth.
Almost every one of those guys.
Oh, I know. But he was considered a top one, and I guess most of them do. But Chris Gutierrez, he looked good, man. My fight of the night was Dustin Poirier and Michael
FaceTime
Chandler.
from my daughter. who hasn't called me in like 5 days.
Well, you can get it, man.
No.
Put her on the show.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier, he's my boy, man. I like him because he's the McGregor killer. I know that, but he puts on a fucking show, and he slugs, and he fights, and he can fight on the ground, and he's fun, and he's cocky, and he's the kind of guy we need. No, and that Michael Chandler was a Bellator champion. He's been, lost one fight since he's been here, but puts on a show, and they fought to kill each other, and then hugged after. And
Yeah, I saw something about not Poirier, but the other guy, Chandler, blew his nose out on top of him, and he was like, "Man, I didn't invent gravity."
yeah, but then he
said
also
he couldn't breathe.
He hooked him. They fish hooked him with
Hooked him.
fucking bloody fingers, and Poirier freaked the fuck out when he did it. Oh man, but I did like after, because what's his name?
He's disgusting.
What's the Russian champion I don't like that just won? He beat
Yeah,
Olivier, but he's talking about Poirier. We need to start taking people's black belts in jiu-jitsu. So after he goes, who's got jiu-jitsu now?
Yeah.
And so I'd love to see that fight, man. And then the chicks that fought, the Zhang and Carla Esparza, both of them had been a champion before. The Chinese girl dominated her. And then in the main event, it was Alex Pereira and Israel, however you say his name.
Asanya.
And I'll be honest with you, first round, Asanya won. Second round, you could give, it was a kind of a,
But this dude has beat Asanya twice already in different sports and kickboxing.
I thought it was just once.
It said twice.
Well,
He's
now
3-0.
twice. Okay, well then maybe. But it was a different sport, different guy. And going in after the fourth round, it was 3 rounds to 1, clearly. And even to start this round, everybody, Rogan's like, he's just got to cruise this round, and he's going to,
Kind of like that other fight that the guy won the belt on.
But the only time that dude would get him would be when he would back into the rope and start playing, doing Silva-type shit. So, he's playing. I mean, in the actual fighting of it, that dude got some good shots on him. But, dude, I love watching Izzy fight, man. When he fights right. He took him to the ground, and they says he doesn't ever do that. He dominated him 1 round on the ground, just beat his ass.
Yeah.
And then 5th round, dude, he just backed up against the ropes, got one that kind of just, got him off, and then that dude just came behind, got him like 5 or 6 just. And my son's a huge Izzy fan. I felt so bad because he walks out. And he, like, the last 3 title fights, whoever he's rooted for has lost, you know. And I went in there after that Poirier fight, and I'm like, man, because it was a badass fight. And he's like, yeah. And then he came out and he wasn't happy. So that was all I had on that.
Did you know that Mayweather fought this weekend?
Yeah. It was a nothing fight. I watched the whole fight. It was horrible.
I did.
It was another exhibition. It was part of that. I don't remember who the guy was. But
I saw the only reason why
he TKO'd him because the guy got him with the shot and it pissed him off. And that was the first time I've seen him pissed go after somebody. And he did. He went, but he was swing like I've never seen him swing like haymakers like
He's
that.
Pissed, huh?
Oh, but he was like rock. Like a
like when he knocked out Ortiz.
But it was even more than that. Like he was like stepping into him, but that dude was a chump. I mean, that proves to me everything just keeps adding up to the fact of we're waiting for the Mayweather bankruptcy. We're just on the clock is
He's
ticking.
got so much money though.
Does he?
Why
does he keep fighting? Why does he keep fighting?
Just to pay his taxes, probably.
No. Not from what I hear. There's multiple people say he is he lives too rich. He has too many people living off of him.
Maybe, I don't know.
Dude, that's why he had to keep fighting.
The only reason why I even knew there was a fight is just because on my wrestling news thing, there was a guy that used to be in WWE called Bobby Fish that fought, and he tried to suplex this guy at first. Like, he wrapped him up and tried to suplex him. And
that was my favorite video I've seen this week
but he TKO'd him.
That I sent to you where my wife says we need to take more romantic trips together.
Yeah,
so I took her to Suplex City.
Yeah, I did that to Sarah last night on the bed, but it's not as hard.
Okay.
So wrestling news, the Usos now are the...
You just made the list! You just made the list!
We gonna get sued for that one or no?
Nope.
We got enough time. The Usos became the longest reigning tag team champions in history of WWE.
That was today.
Yeah, well,
technically.
I think it was yesterday.
Okay, I thought as of Monday it was 100.
Yeah,
145 days or something.
484
like that. There we
days.
go.
So yeah, and then they couldn't have wrote that any more perfect. It just got
and that was
things work out.
Like I said, we've been talking about. I haven't been as up to date on wrestling as I promised I would be, but I've had a lot going on. But I did flip over to that match, and damn good match. I did talk to you about the Fat Uso and the Good Uso.
I don't know if he's fat, but he's just not as good as Shane.
He
but
looks
yeah.
like shit compared to the other one.
Yeah.
And then,
that would be Jimmy.
but then
Jay would be the good shaped one.
that the other guys, to me, in that fight, put on a better show. But there's no, you can tell them two are brothers, just like you've talked about how linked they are with their moves and that stuff. But the other two guys, very similarly, put on some bad. I mean, that was a good match. And we're talking about who they fight there.
The New Day.
There we go.
Yeah, Kofi and Xavier because Big E's still out.
So, do you have anything else on wrestling? Was there any other good ones on that one?
Just after that, they got the Survivor Series coming up in 2 weeks, and they're going to do War Games, kind of like they used to do in WCW, where they're going to have a couple rings put together. And Roman's, the Bloodline.
What they call it, like the something cup or something? I thought they were calling it like the World.
The World Cup, that's going to be for the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay.
Somebody's going to come out of that and wrestle that Gunther.
Okay, but that's going to be in the double ring thing too, because they kept talking about it like it was. And I never liked the single matches that were in 2 rings. I don't
know how they're going to do that.
I remember Survivor Series back in the day, like they had a 5-on-5 in the double ring.
Well, that's traditional Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So they're going to do the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes, which is Sheamus's group.
Okay.
Those two guys, they came out. Sheamus and his 2 goons come out, and he was walking out, and his mic stopped working, and he's like, "Roman, working." I can't even do that fucking accent. Roman, and then, and Roman's like, just pulls it out of his ass, just starts laughing. He's like, "How are you gonna beat our asses when you can't even use the microphone?" And Sheamus, you could just see him like white as a ghost walking up over there, and they roll in the ring, and it didn't take very long for him to start brawling after that. But Roman's just so good on the mic, just
and
quick,
Sheamus it's not so
quick with it. I've been watching Sheamus. He does this deal. He has this YouTube series where it's called Celtic Warrior Workouts, and he works out with different WWE people. Like, he's been going on for a while, but recently he did like Liv Morgan, which was all just butt exercises.
Yeah.
And then he did Austin Theory, which was, he's got those fucking humongous arms, and I did that arm workout. Then he did Bobby Lashley one.
Lats.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, so I was telling my buddy about this today. His workout was...
He's the only person I know has bigger lats than me when I'm working out.
They are humongous. But his warm-up, like I'm talking about, like this is what he called his cardio. He was doing like a wall sit for 30 seconds. Then he would do 20 lunges with each leg. Come back 30 seconds. He was doing it by 2s. So 20, 20, 18. Wall sit, 16. All the way down to 2. And Sheamus is fucking dead. He's like, he's like, "I can't fucking do it, mate." Like, or however the hell they talk. So then
Not
he's
like that.
He's like, "Okay, so after that, we're going to go
Scottish. He's Scottish.
I don't fucking know how to talk like that.
Still bad.
I'm still not very good at it. Cheerio, mate."
Pip, pip, cheerio.
Pip, pip. My teeth are all fucked. I don't know why.
Yeah, now you're just messing up here.
Okay, anyway, so then they went and did, he goes, "Before we even start working out, we're going to do 100 chin-ups." And Sheamus is like, "What?" He goes, "Not in a row." He goes, "I'll just keep track of my head." And he's like, 3, 2, 5, 8. And like, Sheamus is like, "Okay," and they're dead. He goes, "Now we can start our workout." And he was like, back is what makes everybody look big. And then they did this back workout.
Yeah, Lashley's a freak.
He's insane.
He's a freak, man.
And he's like in his 40s and looks like that. I mean, HGH, but
He's
whatever.
ugly, but man, he's a freak. What else? Do you have anything else today?
Not really.
We didn't do, a lot of prep for this show, and we still came up with the show. Again, I want to thank our sponsor for this fine show, Cativa. Seriously, go find us on.
Oh, my neck feels so much better.
Did it help at all?
Thanks
Not
for
really.
my CBDs.
That is our TJ's first ever CBD usage, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So nope, and he didn't. He used it externally, not internally. So no highs in the.
What
the
if
room.
do they make like CBD lube or anything like that?
I do. Yep. Conrad used to do. We talked about it
For himself.
but he did just. I don't know if they do. They probably do. He did the rockets, the rocket ships, little suppositories you stick in your butt that get you high.
He was sticking them in his own ass.
Yeah, and his wife and him were taking them in their butts for fun and stuff. It was a whole rocket ship thing. On his rocket ship, so that was a good time. Well, I don't have nothing else.
Oh, did we want to talk about our
war?
Yeah.
I was gonna leave with that. I was gonna say, and I just want some input. We won't name the show right now, but some of my favorite shows, Don and Mike, and it just shows over history have always had a show that they war with, and we've got a a podcast out there that occasionally likes to talk about us.
They do.
That means they're listening, which is always a good thing. I don't always listen to theirs, so no. I listen, but
I listened to the last one.
You listened to the last one but that was those guys. That wasn't but you listened to that one
I did,
too.
but it had some weird feedback, and it was my AirPods. It was hurting my ears.
I was going to talk to him about it. Come get his board so he can have a better podcast. But we're going to start a podcast war. We want you guys to get involved. Some of the great things back in the day were calling shows live and just waiting to get on air and then being like, Opie and Anthony sucks, or Don and Mike's better, or just some of them were my favorite, or like some of the dummies like Gavin would get messed up and would call Don and Mike thinking he was calling whoever else.
Kind of like the fuck him right in the pussy guy. Like,
yeah. So, but I thought it would be fun to have our own, like Brandon at some, like go to a live taping of the OK Taco show, and maybe
so far away.
Yeah, but we'll pay somebody too. We'll find like a homeless person and get them an Uber down there, and then have them stand out there and be like,
just talk shit, like,
or what? We'll have them do like the jackass. Listen here, jackass. You can't do it.
You will not make this putt,
jackass. So.
Mexico, you look old as shit.
We want some feedback on that from any of the listeners. So if you listen back,
but they're our friends still.
They
right?
are
This
friends.
is just friendly.
Yeah,
friendly war.
No, it's I think it's for now they're friends. I think we'll start it that way and then see where it evolves. No, yeah, I like them on the other show.
I just noticed that the camera's on a big giant speaker.
Yeah, I was trying to get a different angle. I don't even know if they can see you now. I think I've been watching it like slipping, and I've been waiting for it to fall off. Hasn't yet, so that's it for today. I'm going to go inside and take care of my blind dog, relieve my wife, and not sexually, relieve her of duties, let her go visit her loved ones. So thank you, guys. I'm going to leave you with my play out. I'm not. I'm going to apparently hit wrong buttons, and then we're just going to...
It's my
I
favorite.
will eat your ass. Boobies aren't things that give you milk. Boobies are things that kill you. I'm here to date your 6-year-old. You get in my face with that, I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. I don't like you piece of shit in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
Dude, that is perfect. I'm here to date your 6-year-old. And that's a fake Alex.